Okay, so I just want to give you guys a little demo of a pretty cool little app that I just threw together in the last couple days. But maybe first a little bit of background. So when you think about a blockchain, and you think about like the possible use cases for one, like one of the first use cases that always comes to mind, other than just like payments and money, is DNS, right? Resolving domain names using a blockchain. This is because the existing domain name system and PKI system requires all these like trusted third parties to make it work, and we can potentially replace them with a trustless system. And so people have kind of been trying to do name resolution on a blockchain really kind of from the beginning, right? So the very first altcoin that was ever created was Namecoin, which was intended to do DNS on a blockchain. There have been a number of other attempts. But as of yet, none of these attempts have really caught on. And if I could give my opinion on why that I think that is, it's because all of them require you to download this like full heavyweight blockchain just in order to resolve names, right? To just use like a browser or what have you. And so you can just imagine like having to download like 200 gigabytes worth of data or whatever it is, and then spend like days validating all of that before you can even use your browser. Um, and then of course when you finally does get all caught up and synced up, you still have this like really heavyweight application just grinding away in the background of your computer, hogging your bandwidth, hogging your CPU, and of course you can't run it on mobile devices either. So I'm kind of under the belief that if you're building a blockchain based application for like mass consumption for consumers, that you need to find a way to make it work in like a lightweight mode. That it's like if you require your users to download a full blockchain, you're already cutting out like 99% of your potential user base. Um, and so I think that's been like the problem with these blockchain based DNS systems to date. We do have a new one here. The Ethereum guys have created this ENS, Ethereum naming system, name service, which essentially does the same thing. It's a way to use the Ethereum blockchain to register names and resolve names. But the thing that makes that's unique about Ethereum, whereas like all these that makes it different from all these previous attempts, is that Ethereum has like a different commitment structure for its data. So like the entire state of the system, including the state of all these names, is committed to the block headers. And what that allows is you can essentially build like a lightweight client that just syncs the block headers and doesn't download the entire contents of the block, and then you can essentially get like a compact cryptographic proof that the particular name that you're interested in is or the value does map to that name, and that the name actually is in the blockchain. And it's because of this commitment structure you can do this, right? So Bitcoin doesn't have this type of commitment structure. It works differently. um, and so at least we have the potential to do kind of like a lightweight name resolution using Ethereum. And I guess to my knowledge, I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone was actually doing this on Ethereum yet. So we were at the consensus conference last week, and I was just showing, I think, like Joseph Poon, some like few lines of code that I wrote to spin up an Ethereum Lite client and do some like lightweight name resolution, and he was like, you should like build this out and like do something with it. And so I say, and it's not really a bad idea. So I went and I just built this out into like a little command line application here that just spins up an Ethereum Lite client, and then it'll do the name resolution. Um, and you can do it on the command line as well as with an API. And then I posted about this on the Ethereum subreddit. But it's not that much more work to go from this to then actually building a browser extension that will resolve these .eth domains, right? So it's essentially what we have here. So this browser extension will spin up it'll spin up an Ethereum node, essentially a peer-to-peer light client in the background. So whenever I open Chrome, it'll start going out and making peer-to-peer connections, and then it'll allow me to resolve these names, right? So I can see I have the resolver like running here in the background, and it's returning an IP here, right? And I could, if I wanted like the full DNS record, I could do something like this. Right, and it'll give me the full DNS record, and this could have multiple records for each name, just like the actual DNS system, right? And so, obviously, since that's running in the background, then we can just, we could just visit a .eth domain, and it'll just resolve it like normal. So this is just a web server that I have that's just spinning, serving up an image. But it's pointing at the .eth domain's pointing at my server, and it's resolving this domain on the Ethereum blockchain. And if I close down Chrome, it'll shut down the node, right? So if I check again, then the node is now disconnected. So it's working pretty well. There is a little bit of delay in syncing the headers. It's not long. It's like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops. But like if I blow away the blockchain here and then restart Chrome, let me just give it. Right. Yeah. So if I go to I try and visit a .eth domain while it's syncing the blockchain, and I'm going to get this little loading page here. And once this is done, it'll just redirect me to whatever page I was looking for. But this takes maybe like 5 or 10 minutes to sync up. But the only other thing that we would need in order to actually kind of make this work really, really well would be to find some way to validate like self-signed SSL certificates against data from the blockchain. So, you can use this with the existing PKI system and certificate authorities, although I don't think any certificate authorities are going to issue a certificate for a .eth domain. But you could definitely, if let's say we like your website was serving up a self-signed cert, we could like check the fingerprint of that cert against like a fingerprint from the Ethereum blockchain. And in theory, it should be like trivial to do that, but in practice, I'm not sure if Chrome gives us the type of like fine-grained control over the certificate validation that we actually need to do that. So I don't know if someone else is a little bit more familiar, maybe you can take a look into it. And if not, maybe we could find a way to do something clever, like having the binary that's running in the background install the certificates in the operating system. Although there's bound to run into some kind of permission issues with doing that. But there might be a workaround that we can come up with to make it work. But yeah, so that's ENS. I'll put the code up on GitHub. I'll put a link in the YouTube video. And at the moment, I haven't built any installers for this. Installing this Chrome extension, sadly, is not going to be just as easy as downloading it from like the Chrome Web Store. But we can build installers that will just install everything and move everything into place that it needs in order to run it. But those installers don't exist at the moment, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to install this extension at the moment. But if you're willing to give it a go, I'll put the link to the code on YouTube. So let me know what you think.